welcome back to Wine Out with Books with your girl Kay. As you can see by the title, I am reviewing Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. This book review was requested by JD. Shout out to you. I thank you and appreciate that you suggested the book. Before I get into the review, I'm gonna start by saying the next book review is going to be Hood by Noor, and Bailey London requested that, so that's the next video. And then after, I'm not sure which other books is gonna be next, well, the order, but obviously the ones that was requested. Anyways, so yeah, I'm dropping 2 videos in 1 week because your girl is going on vacation, so I'm not gonna have time to be posting and uploading. You know how that goes, the summertime. But anyways, let's get into the review. Alright, you already know I have my notes in front of me because I read multiple books at one time. I have my wine, per usual. Take a sip. Whew. Hope y'all take a sip. I'm drinking a New Line by Luscious Vines. So I love this wine. One of my favorite wines. Go out and get it. But anyways, let's jump into the review. So, Chloe Brown. Who is Chloe Brown? I'm just going to start by saying, I think JD told me in the comments, and correct me if I'm wrong, JD, that this is a series. Chloe Brown is the first in the series, and then she has 2 other sisters. I don't remember their name right now, but I will be reading their books. I'm going to purchase it. When? I'm not sure, but it will get done. But yeah, so this is a series book. Oh, damn, I lost my page, bro. All right, anyways, so Chloe Brown. So Chloe Brown is a character who is going through many trials and tribulations. So her main tribulation is that she is terminally ill, right? So she suffers from fibromyalgia, chronic pain, chronic fatigue. So AKA, she can't do too much. She can't exert herself too much. She's usually confined to her home. Basic activities or basic movements or motor skills such as like typing and walking and jumping and all that stuff, you know, it's hard on her body. So she's suffering with that. She wasn't always like that. She ended up getting sick. I can't remember her age. She's an adult. We're gonna stick with that. But she used to play netball, and she got sick. She got sick with pneumonia, and you know, she was complaining to the doctors about her body pain, and you know, the doctors wouldn't believe her. The only people that would believe her is her family. So, you know, it went on for months. So she was self-medicating herself because, you know, again, the doctors wouldn't believe her, and then it come to find out she had this illness. So that's what's going on, you know. And Chloe's young. From what I remember, Chloe is young, and she's going through it. And you know, her old life, she has that no more. She used to be fun, outgoing, the life of the party. She used to be into sports, you know. In a blink of an eye, like this, her life changed. So if you want to read about Chloe's sickness and you have the book, you already know I got it in my notes. On page 155, you can read about her sickness, all right? So that's that. So Chloe has her own web design business. She's very smart. She likes video games. But with her illness, she comes off as, you know, snotty, Snoopy? One of those. She comes off as being an asshole. Yeah, I know I like that word. So she comes off as being an asshole. She could come off as mean. She could come off as arrogant. Again, she wasn't always like that. But, you know, the problem is that she comes from a rich family. So being rich, you know, a lot of people associate richness with being an asshole or full of themselves or high and mighty. So that's how Chloe is portrayed in the beginning of the book. But she never wanted, she's the type of person that she wants to do things on her own. Like she has money, her family has money, but she's going to make a name for herself. You get what I'm saying? She's determined, she's independent, and she don't want people babying her. And I feel her on that because her family babies her. Like her family, she's fragile, but they reflect that she's fragile all the time. And, you know, she doesn't like that. So The beginning of the book starts off Chloe's going for her daily walks. You know, the doctor tells her that, you know, she needs to go for a walk. Have a routine, you know, don't just let the illness take over you. And I respect that, you know, because sometimes it can be mind over matter within the illness. You know, you make the illness. Don't let the illness make you. If that makes sense. Take a sip. All right. Anyways, so Chloe's on a walk, right? Slow walk around her neighborhood. Next thing you know, a drunk driver smashes into a building right in front of her. So this is Chloe. It's the building. Boop. Right there. So Chloe seems to think that everything bad happens to her on a Tuesday. And that happened to her on a Tuesday. So Chloe decides that, you know what? I'm gonna make a list for fun things that I'm gonna do in my life, because, you know, she's not the same person again. So she wasn't having fun. She wasn't living. You know, she was just doing a routine, but she wasn't living. You know, and I feel her on that. Like, she basically needed a life. And I think the title to me, Get a Life, Chloe, is not basically, you know, like how people say, like, get a life because you mind somebody's business. No, I think it's more so like find yourself again, you know, find something that you enjoy doing, find someone you enjoy doing it with, and make yourself happy. You get what I'm saying? Don't just soak in your sorrow, you know. There is a way to find happiness despite your circumstances, even though if you can't see it right then and there. And I think that accident was Chloe's wake-up call, right? So Chloe decides that, you know, she gonna make a list. She's gonna make a list. And I'm gonna tell you what's on Chloe's list. I got it right here. So the first item on Chloe's list is to move out of her parents' home, right? The second one is enjoy a drunken night out. The third is ride a motorcycle. 4 is going camping. 5 is having meaningless, enjoyable sex. The 6 is travel the world with nothing but luggage. And the 7th one was do something bad. So if you watch my videos, then you should already know the two the two on Chloe's list that I would definitely do. If you think that by watching my videos and you know the 2 that I would agree with on Chloe's list, drop it in the comment. If you right, I get a surprise for you guys. You know what I'm saying? So drop it the two from Chloe's list that you think that I would put on my list. All right. So anyway. So yeah, so 2 months after the incident, Chloe checks off one item off her list. She decides to move out of her parents' life so she could truly be independent. She don't have to depend on, well, she don't have to depend on anybody. But she has 2 strong-minded sisters, her grandmother Gigi, you know, people that really, really care about her. So they check up on her each and every day. So her sisters, they do the shopping for her. They you know, they get her food. The little things that she can't bear to do because of her body, they do for her. But everything else outside of that, she does for herself. She doesn't want to be seen as fragile, even though she is. So she tries to do it for herself. So upon moving into a building, she moves into a nice little building or whatever, she comes across the super named Red. Now Red, oh sorry, by the way, Chloe is I think the story is based out of, is it England, London, one of them. Hold that thought. Right? They say flats and all that, so I guess it's London or England. Whatever. It's international. So she comes across and she meets the super Red. Red is a white Caucasian dude. He got his name from his name is Redford, right? But he has nice long red hair. You know, he's seen as he's tatted up. If you look at him, you will automatically assume, well, people automatically would assume that he's a bad boy, he's a bad influence because he's tatted up. He looked like he's in a biker gang, nice body, all that. You know, the way that Red was described in the book, they described him, you know, fairly well. Like any other woman who was reading the book would think that Red is, you know, a sexual being. But, you know, if it ain't black, I don't want it, you know what I'm saying? I like, that's what I like, you know what I'm saying? But Red in the book, is fine. All right. Red is described as a fine specimen. So anyway, so Chloe sees Red, and then every time Chloe interacts with Red or Red sees Chloe, Chloe for some reason is always getting into it with another tenant. The problem being is that on the outside looking in, or from Red perspective, Red, Chloe is the problem, right? But they don't see that the people that that Chloe gets into it with is the problem. Like, they start with her. So to Red, she is another rich, snobby, stuck-up queen who thinks the world revolves around her, and he just can't take it. But for some reason, he's like low-key attracted to her. He's attracted to the clothing that she wears, her thighs, her legs, because Chloe in the book is portrayed as a big boned woman, voluptuous, all that, pretty face, all that, right? He even attracted to the sweat that dripped down his face. I'm like, that's another level. I don't know about that, but that's another level. Teacher's own. But anyway, so yeah. So, but for some reason, every time Chloe interacts with Red, she comes off like invasive, right? So she be like, all right, so boom. Y'all tell me hi, right? Say if y'all something like one of y'all was to meet me in public, right? And y'all be like, hi. I'd be like, hi. And then I'm just acting like that. Y'all gonna think I'm an asshole, right? That's how Chloe comes off. So Red is just like, Chloe reminds him of his ex-girl. So Red was in a relationship with a rich white girl. In the beginning, you don't know, what happened until the ending. But Red has trauma from his past with this rich white girl, Pippa. I think that's her name. Pippa. That's how you spell it. So anyways, so yeah, so that's that. But it's the opposite for Chloe. Chloe is more so, she sees Red and she's attracted to Red. She likes Red. But for some reason, she can't be, it's like it's not in her nature to be nice to him. You know what I'm saying? Like when they say girls are mean to boys, they like them. That's basically what's going down. So, but Chloe tries to avoid Red because she knows she's attractive. But Chloe thing is like, she don't want to get close to anybody because, I'm going to just say it. She don't want to get close to anybody because everybody that used to be in her past life before she got sick left her, So she's basically hanging with family and trying to guard her heart. And I understand that. But you won't know that about Chloe in the beginning of the book because everybody thinks that she's just an asshole. But in all, she has a shield around her heart and she's put her guard up because of how people have treated her. And I understand that, and that's why we can't judge a book by its cover. But it's easier said than done because 9 out of 10 times, what unprofessionally wise in my own personal life, if I interact with somebody and they coming off crazy, I'm not thinking about they going through something like, yo, what's good with you? Chill. What's up with you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why you acting like that? Chill. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to think you an asshole. I'm not even going to hold you. I'm going to think you an asshole. Like, yo, chill. Just chill a little bit. But anyways, right? So, let's move on. Y'all know I glanced down on my notes. All right. So, Chloe also likes to admire Red. So, Chloe's apartment is here. Red has an apartment in the building, but, it's multiple buildings. So, across the little hall over there, a little walkway, she could see right into Red's apartment. Now, Red is an aspiring artist. Before he moved into the apartment and he became the super of the building, Red had a life. He's good at his paintings are good. But being that he was in this relationship, and I'm gonna refrain from speaking on that part until we get to the ending of the book, so you can understand the timeline. Red just took the job. His friend actually owns the building, so his friend hooked him up. So he's a super. So after Red finishes work or whatever, he goes to start painting his apartment. Chloe, like a creep, is watching out the window, like she like this, watching him. So Red likes to paint with no shirt on, the sweat glistening on his body. So Chloe just like this, peeking and shit, peeking. But one day Red ended up catching her, and she ducked like this, like, oh, I'm like, yo, Chloe, just let him see you, boo. You ain't gotta hide. But anyways, yeah, so that's that. So let's get to how the two actually started talking, because, you know, again, they crossed paths, but, you know, he thinks she's an asshole. Chloe avoided him. So one day, Chloe's on her many walks. She's walking back to her apartment, and she sees a cat in a tree. So the cat looks like he or she is stuck, right? So Chloe decides that she's gonna climb the tree. So she knows that her body can't take the what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my gosh. Her body can't handle that she's climbing a tree, right? So she climbs the tree, her body's aching, pain, all that, but she's determined to get the cat out the tree, right? At that point, the cat's more important. I respected Chloe for that. Me, that little cat staying in the goddamn tree. Not me and the cat. So anyways, Red comes across as she's walking by and sees Chloe in the tree with the cat. Like, she's like, what the fuck she doing? So he walks over like, yo, you need help? You know, Chloe got her little, Chloe got a smart ass mouth. But like, you gotta read the book to understand like the back and forth that they was doing. Like it was like a little turn on, you know, like you see two people playing hard to get, you watch it, you want to see what's next. That's what was going on. So I was intrigued. Like, what you gonna say next, Chloe? And then how was Red gonna handle it? I was intrigued by the vertebrae that was going on. Verbatim that was going on. Right? So, long story short, Red ends up helping Chloe out the tree. As he's helping Chloe out the tree, he sees that she's in pain. He was like, you okay? Are you hurt? And Chloe's like, no. So, Chloe's trying to play it off because she doesn't want to tell Red, you know, what's going on, her situation, because, you know, she don't want sympathy. So, she's holding it together, but she's walking like crazy. He notices that, but he doesn't say anything. So, she gets to her apartment, says thank you, whatever, close the door. So Red, being the gentleman that he is, you know, Red is a sweetheart, right? People took advantage of my boy Red. So Red is a sweetheart. Red gets back to his apartment like, yo, like, something ain't right. Like, she's hurting, you know? And he starts questioning stuff like, yo, why do I care? She comes off aggressive, you know, she's mean to me and all that, but it's like he can't help it, you know? And that's like, you know, for me, I'm thinking Red like them aggressive girl. Like, you know, you don't want nobody that's gonna beg to your every move. Like, hey baby, nah, you want that little hard to get. Like, that's more a little intriguing, you know. It's like hard to get, but it's not too much, if y'all understand what I'm saying. I find that to be a little bit of a turn on, if you ask me. But anyway, so Red goes back to the apartment. Red checks on Chloe and was like, yo, are you okay? I noticed that you was limping, you were in pain. And then Chloe's like, you know, I'm always in pain, I'm hurting, and this, that, and the third, right? So hold that thought, because I gotta flip my notes. All right. So yeah, so Chloe invites him in, and he starts, you know, observing her apartment and noticing that, you know, she does web design, because he sat down on the couch while she went and did what she had to do, and noticing that she liked buttons and her dress and cardigan, and while he was in her apartment, like, he was getting more turned on. And I'm thinking, like, at first I'm like, Red, you a little creep, but I'm like, I understand, like, this is the woman that you like her, but you hate her. So I understand why you observe it. Because if I come into your house, I'm observing, just like I would expect someone to observe my apartment if they come in here, right? So anyway, so they get to talking, and then Red basically was like, as he was looking at her card with her web design, he was like, you do web design? She's like, yeah. And he was like, I need a website for my painting and stuff like that. So, you know, Chloe like, oh, you paint? Little chitter chatter. And then she decides to tell him like, yo, I have a proposition for you. She basically says like, I have a list that I'm trying to fulfill, and I need your help. I want to ride a motorcycle. And he was like, what? And then she was like, yeah, you have a motorcycle. He was like, yeah. She was like, I want to ride a motorcycle, and you know, I'll do a free consultation for you for your your website, and you help me ride a bike. So he takes up on the offer. He's trying to wonder why he take up on the offer, but we all know why. So anyways, we gonna fast forward. So the day comes when they gotta get on the motorcycle. So Red is like sweating, like Chloe has her arms wrapped around Red, and Red, he trying to play it all cool, but my man is busting in his little jacket, like he can't help it, like he's aroused. He's like, I love her touch. The way her breath is breathing on my neck is turning me on. You know, he trying to play it cool, and Chloe in the back as they ride on a motorcycle, feeling free and wild, like she's enjoying it. She's enjoying being able to touch him. You know, he makes her feel safe. Chloe makes Red feel safe. Chloe is bringing back Red to his old self, and you know, cause Red old girlfriend used to do stupid shit like, I don't, basically do stupid shit. Like, he took her for a ride. She didn't like to ride on a motorcycle, but she would take pictures and fake it for Instagram, like, oh, she just enjoyed it, and Red didn't like it. But Chloe genuinely liked the ride, and Red liked the way that, you know, the ride felt with Chloe, and, you know, he was coming together, and I was like, I need to be on that motorcycle. That's it. But anyways, so yeah, so they get back from the ride, you know, both of them in their feelings and all that, and then, Chloe decides to tell him, like, yo, hold on, let me make sure. Oh, sorry, pause. So Chloe realizes from the motorcycle ride, this is important, that in order, she needed to change her attitude about her situation, her life, if she was going to make any changes in her life. And from there, she proposed to Red, like, listen, she told him about the list. She said, I have a list. I'm trying to fulfill my list, and I want your help with it. In return, I will do your website for you for free. I'll help manage it, you know, and I think that's a good deal. So Red is like, nah, I could pay for it. She's like, no, it's only fair you help me with my list. So the original list that I told you guys in the beginning, Chloe revised it, because, you know, you're not gonna tell no man that you're trying to have meaningless sex and do something bad, right? So she revised the list to make it seem like, you know, it's all proper and goody good girl. I'm like, no, Chloe, tell him you want a bone. Tell my man you want a bone. So anyways, the camera shook. So anyways, Chloe decides to take something, do something bad off the list. Chloe's do something bad was basically that she watches Red paint at night, and Red caught her. So that's Chloe's do something bad. My do something bad would be like, let's go skinny dipping in the middle of the night and possibly get caught by somebody watching. That's me doing something bad. You know, Chloe do something bad. She got caught peeping Tom. Well, peeping Sally. Chloe. But anyways, teach his own. So they agree. Red agrees to help her with the list. She ended up telling Red about, you know, her sickness, everything that's going on, and, you know, Red starts to feel like a little sensitive spot for her, and starts to realize, like, you know, the reason why Chloe is the way she is because she's going through this situation, and she's, you know, she's trying to manage it. She doesn't want to be seen as fragile, and he starts understanding and low-key dropping the guard. All the while, you know, they go back and forth with their little snotty remarks and both of them are petty. And I loved every bit of it, right? So that's that. So Red decides that he was going to go to his friend's house, the friend that he works for, that's the landlord, because the friend has a room in his house, right? So, pause. I'm sorry. I missed a point. Hold on. Before Red goes to his friend's house, Red ends up showing Chloe one of his paintings, right? That he's painting after his hiatus, you know. And he was scared as hell because it's been over like a year or two since anyone has seen a painting from him. And, you know, he's changed within that year or two, whatever it was. And Chloe was the first one. So he shows Chloe the painting, and he's afraid what Chloe's going to say. And Chloe decides that, you know, as she's viewing the painting, like something clicked to her. Like she understood the pain and the pain that Red was going through. She understood the message he was trying to portray in his painting. She loved it. And Red caught sight of that feeling that Chloe was feeling for his painting, because that's what he wanted. You get what I'm saying? So he saw Chloe looking at it, and he was looking at Chloe looking at the painting, and he felt like a sense of freedom and happiness, and his whole entire outlook for Chloe changed when she viewed his painting, and she appreciated it and she loved it, right? So he decides that he's gonna really paint again, because if Chloe likes his new artwork, then other people will like it. So now he goes to his friend's house. His friend is like his best friend. He goes to his friend. They talking about the situation or whatever. Him need to get back into painting and find himself and do what he enjoys to love, because again, he also is not living his true life. He went into hiding, and a part of his hiding was taking a job as a super. So he starts painting in the room. His friend is standing behind him, and he loses himself. Like when you into your craft and you passionate about your craft and you doing something, and you just, the world around you, your surroundings is disappearing. It's just you and whatever you're doing. That was him. So after he came out, he finished painting, and it was just like, wow. So he realized, like, yo, during that time, he was trying to figure out, like, if he needed to go back to his old self or he needed to embrace the new self. And from that painting session that he did, he realized that he will not go back to his old self, that he liked and enjoyed his new self, and this is who he was, and he's using his pain to reflect that. And I thought that part of the book was beautiful, because sometimes you tend to lose yourself. Sometimes people want you to go back to the old way, but sometimes that's not who you are. And it gets hard embracing the new you when you go through things and changes and you wish you could go back to your old self. But sometimes the new you is who you truly are meant to be. You know what I'm saying? For anybody who's going through that or have been through that, you understand, and it's okay. Change is necessary for growth. All right? That's my word of wisdom for today. So anyways, so let's move forward. So after that, he realized, like, all right, cool. We gonna get on with it. So in the midst of this, Chloe had realized from the motorcycle ride that everything was too intense with them, and she was feeling Red is feeling her, and that the same day that he had showed her the painting, there was a sense of like attraction, and they was playing around, and she also wanted to talk about his website during that time, but they didn't get, when they together, they don't get any work done. So after Red finished his painting session, Chloe had emailed him. She basically stated, like, listen, I think from now on we need to keep it professional when it comes to your working on your website. We should communicate via email, because it's clear that when we together, we don't get anything done, and I want to remain professional, and I want to hold up my end of the deal and finish your website. So they email back and forth, and Red decides, like, he responds back to her email, and they just going back and forth emailing for hours. But like, let me see if I can quickly find that real quick. Hold up, because I think it was so cute. All right, here we go. I'm gonna just read y'all something real quick, right? Because it was so cute. All right, so Red says, "Dear Chloe, if you weren't miserable on the racing death machine, what were you? Describe it to me just so I can make sure I haven't traumatized you." Chloe wanted him to join Instagram. He said, "I'm not joining Instagram though, and I don't feel taking advantage of. You're really into balance." Her, why is that? "Since you do so well with regards, let's push it a bit. Best wishes." So they like really petty, right? So Chloe responds, "You haven't traumatized me. The ride surprised me, but I liked it. Please don't worry, I really did. I don't think anyone needs specific reason to avoid incurring excessive debt. We've made a deal, and I'm taking it seriously. Best Chloe." So like they like in their messages, I don't want to read the full thing as long as you can see, but they was a little petty, and I was like, okay, what's gonna happen next? Anyways, so they start emailing back and forth. They get a time to meet up, right? So Red goes to her apartment. I believe, hold on, let me make sure. All right, so Red goes to her apartment. I was right, the next day, right? So Chloe decides that she's gonna share the full list, the list that she made with him. Of course, again, she revises the list, taking off stuff. So he was like, all right, we could do that. So from there, she decides to disclose, everything that she's been going through. So she tells him, I had close friends, and when I got sick, they basically abandoned me. They didn't believe. No, well, not that they abandoned her. She started falling back from them because Chloe didn't want, to continue making excuses as far as like telling them that she couldn't go out, she can't drink, she can't do anything of that nature, and they wasn't understanding that, and she didn't want to put that burden on them. Chloe also tells Red that she was engaged. So Chloe was engaged to an asshole, and it like that situation pissed me off. So Chloe was, whatever his goddamn name was, don't even know his name. I think it was Henry. Yeah, Henry. So she was engaged to Henry, and when she got sick, she told Henry about, her body and everything that was going on. And Henry basically was like, you making it up, you're lying, and he left her. So while she's telling Red this story, Red is getting heated, and Red is seeing another side of her. Red is understanding why she is the way she is, and that she's trying not to get hurt. And the reason why Chloe keeps putting Red at a distance, because she's afraid that if she let him in, she's going to get hurt, and that's why she's so guarded. So Red is, compassionate. He's nurturing to her touch. Red is doing things that, even though they're not together, like he offers to make her tea. He offers to do little things to help her out for things that she can't do, right? So Chloe takes notice to all that. So Red decides that, while they're working on completing the list, that he's gonna take into account her illness, her circumstances, how far she can walk, her pain level. He's gonna ask her, right? And she decides that, she's falling for Red. She don't tell him that, but she don't fall for Red. And I thought that was a beautiful thing. I'm like, here is a man that you don't told him your greatest concerns. You don't told him your fears. You don't told him what's going on, your situation. And he decides that he's going to take it upon himself to make sure that you are taken care of and you are safe on this journey to completing your list. That he's gonna make sure that he takes into account everything that's going on around him so that you are safe. And that's not even your man. So anyway, I'm not even gonna say nothing to that. So, all right, past that. All right, I'm gonna speed up. As always, the video is gonna be long, guys. So the first thing that they do, right? Well, second thing that they do on the list is have a drunken night. So Chloe wants to go out to a bar and have get crazy drunk like she used to do with her friends. Red is like, all right. So they go to a bar, and Red makes sure that all the bars that they go into is within walking distance from each other, so Chloe doesn't overexert herself. And as Chloe gets to the bar, she's taking shots, she's drinking better at that, she's getting lit. She realized that she doesn't want that bar life. Like, it's not the drunken nights that she was missing, it's the people that she was with. And I understand that, like, the people that you surround yourself, your old friends or whatever that you was close to, those are the people that made the memories of the bar nights fun. You get what I'm saying? So she then tells Red that she wants to bounce. So they bounce or whatever, and Red decides, like, all right, they both lit, but he wants to show her something. So Red takes her to an alleyway that has, like, an art and stuff like that. And Chloe, while Red is, viewing the art, Chloe realized, like, yo, you're really passionate about it. Art is really something that you like. So they go into a little art gallery there. They view art. Red runs into an old colleague of his own, and they're asking, like, where you been? You just disappeared, and, Red is just like, trying to hide the point that, he had disappeared and playing it off. But Chloe sees the real him. Chloe sees that he was running away from something. Chloe sees that he's trying to move on from that. Chloe sees that he wants to be a better man. He wants to change. He wants to find himself. And she tells him that, after they leave the art gallery, they go sit on the stoop, and they start having that conversation. Chloe tells him, like, this is what I see when I look at you, and Red completely starts opening up himself to her, and you know, it was a beautiful thing. It's just like when you know, us women are more prone to not all women, but women in general are more we're more open with our feelings. We're able to communicate that, whereas men always have to be seen in that masculine light and can't let their guard down, and you know, because if you do, they're seen as less manly, and you know, some people don't want a man that's in tune with their feelings. But that's, you know, a man that's in tune with their feelings, a woman that's in tune with their feelings is for me. If you could communicate that, and you can communicate how you feel, so we can move forward, we can grow together, that's a beautiful thing. And what took place in that book during that time was just beautiful. Like, I read that I'm gonna just call it a scene 2 times, because I enjoyed like Red opening up and Chloe being able to open up. But here's the part that got me, guys. So let me tell you, right? So the stoop scene, I need that to happen. So this is what happened. It was a sex stoop scene, right? So boom. So you know, they flirt after the whole talk. Skip over that. Both of them flirt. So Red is, you know, touching on Chloe, kissing on her, whatever. And then it's dark outside during this time, right? I'm gonna just run this down to y'all because I need this to happen. So they sit on the stoop. So this is Red. Chloe is sitting in front of Red, right? Some of y'all might say it's nasty, it's not PG-13 or whatever, but listen, spontaneous is the way to go. So they, whatever. So, you know, Red is kissing her neck, so Chloe's getting aroused. So Red decides that, you know, he's going to put his fingers, start touching Chloe's body, you know. He's touching Chloe's body. He puts 2 fingers inside Chloe's JJ, right? So he basically is... this channel is for adults. It's not for kids. So if your kids is watching, don't comment in the comments like, oh, this, that, and the third. I don't care. This is for adults. Anyways, so Chloe, he puts his fingers in Chloe's panties, starts fingering her, whatever, right? So he doing like a little slow stroke motion. It's arousing Chloe. First of all, Chloe hasn't had sex in a year or 2 years or however long it was since nasty ass Henry. So she deserved to get finger fucked on the stoop, okay? But you gotta read it to visualize the intensity of that sex scene in the book, all right? I'm not gonna lie. I was aroused reading the damn book scene. I was like, God damn, Red is doing his thing. Go off, Red. So Red fingers for Chloe right there on the stoop, right? Chloe orgasms automatically. So Chloe, after Chloe finishes doing what she's doing, she decides to ask Red, like, you know, you just did me off. Can I help you out? So Red is like, nah. It was all pleasure to you. Pleasure for you. I'm good. So mind you, he got blue balls. So Chloe's like, yo, he's like catering to my needs. Because you know, some people are not like that. Let's be real here. Side note, when it comes to sex with men, some men, not all men, don't consider the woman's anatomy. They don't consider that the woman needs to be pleased first, because it's easy. A man can come just like that. Like that's real talk. You get what I'm saying? And it's not likely that a woman is going to come, so you got to please your woman first. And sometimes men just decide they're going to get theirs and that's it. But Red was on a different like that. He's going to make sure he please Chloe. He going to go home with blue balls and he going to be good. That's what it is. If you agree with me, drop it in the comment. Like, that's what I think. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, so from there, you know, Chloe's going to do it like, damn, like that. Red is doing his thing. Let me take a sip. I'm remembering the scene. All right. So anyways, let me make sure. Hold on. All right, yeah. So after they finish doing what they're doing, they walk it back. Chloe runs into her auntie. And the auntie's like, basically, who is this? Chloe's just like, you know, this is just a friend. Nothing, he's helping me, whatever. So Red feels away, and I would have felt away too, because, you know, we just did that, and I'm thinking we having a connection. You gonna tell your aunt I'm just a friend, but honestly speaking, they were just friends. You get what I'm saying? So he couldn't be mad, but I understand you thought it was something more. He was opening up himself. So I understand both positions and both not positions, perspectives on the situation. So Red gets mad, he getting his feelings or whatever. He stopped talking to Chloe, and that's that. So hold on, let me make sure. All right, I paused it there. If y'all want to read the sex scene and you have the book, it's on page 214. All right, next. All right, so they stopped talking for a couple days or whatever. Next thing you know, Red comes over to Chloe's apartment to view the website. He likes what he sees. Then Chloe decides to tell him, like, you know, listen, this is what it is. It's not that I'm trying to hide you, but we never established what we are. No disrespect to you, and this is what happened, right? So Red is forgiving her, you know, and within that time frame, I forgot to tell you what happened with Red, because I don't have it here. We get into the end of the book. So Red was in a relationship with a rich white girl named Pippa. Pippa basically used Red. You know, she never really liked Red. She saw potential in Red. So at the time, Red was trying to, you know, sell his paintings and he wasn't getting nowhere. So Chloe's father was an art dealer, and Chloe, you know, when Red and Chloe got together, Chloe introduced Red to her father. The father liked his work, and from there, his paintings took off. And, you know, Pippa wasn't meeting Red's need, and he started realizing, like, you know, she's using me, she's downplaying me, because anytime they get into it, Pippa would be like, if you wouldn't be who you are because of me, and nobody really liked your work. They only bought your work because of my father, you know. So he started questioning himself, like, you know, do people like my paintings for real? They just buying it because of the father. They had a big breakup, and then after that, you know, he vanished. He deleted his Instagram, his websites. He just stopped talking to people. He started questioning himself, and I understand him. It's just like, you thinking you doing good. You finally get the opportunity to sell your paintings, and then you start. It's like, are people buying the paintings because they genuinely like it, or because of who I know or who I'm with? So I understand what happened to him, because it traumatized him, and he was traumatized from relationships, right? That's what happened to Red. So they go, after Red forgives Chloe, they go camping. Camping was awesome. They finally had sex, and when I tell you Red took his time, Red knew what he was doing. They had all night. They was getting it on. Fast forward from the camping scene, right? So they come back to Chloe's home the next day. Chloe's in pain from the sex, from the walking, everything. Chloe can't walk, all that. So Red is catering to Chloe. He's at her house, you know, laying down. Chloe's sisters usually come over to check on her. When they come over unannounced after the trip, Chloe lets them in. Red stays in the room, and Red was like, he understands why, you know, Chloe doesn't want to, you know, let people know about them at this time because of the situation. So he was cool with it this time. So he stayed in the room. Chloe's sisters come in. Chloe basically tells, like, no, sisters see Red's booth at the door. They're like, oh, he's here. This, that, and the third. Chloe's like, yeah, he's here. He's in the room. Be quiet. They whisper and all that. So basically, one of the sisters like, oh, you had sex, and Chloe's like, we had sex, and then it was like meaningless sex, and then he didn't hear that part, and Chloe's like, you know, no, it's not like that. He's on my list. She was telling them that she revised the list. So all the while, Red is standing in the bedroom listening to the conversation, but he's only hearing bits and pieces. The only thing that he heard was that he's on Chloe's list. So when the sisters leave, Chloe go back to Red. Red is like, I'm on your list. He's hurt. He's butthurt. And he doesn't give Chloe a chance to explain why he's on the list. So when Chloe revised the list, she put keep Red on the list. Like, basically, she likes him. She wants to be with him. She's gonna love him, you know? And Red just hears I'm on the list, and he thinks that, you know, she's using him. She's just like Pippa. She doesn't love me, this and the third. So he storms out. No, he starts screaming and going back and forth with Chloe, and, you know, Chloe's trying to explain. He's not listening, and then he's like, I'm leaving. And Chloe's like, you know, if you walk out that door, don't come back. What do he do? Like a typical ass male. He walk out the door, run away from his problem. So he walks out the door. As soon as he walks out the door slams. He realized, like, yo, he just walked out on Chloe. He didn't give Chloe a chance to explain. Chloe's not like his ex, and he just did everything. He just did he just acted the same way people have acted in Chloe's life, walking out, and that's what Chloe was afraid of. So he starts banging on the door, not banging, knocking on the door to get Chloe to answer, and Chloe's just like, nah, I told you what it is, you left me, that's it. So Red decides that, you know what, this is what it is, I gotta get Chloe back. So prior to their little camping trip, he had put in his notice to leave the superposition because he wanted to, you know, start his business, fully get back into painting. So Chloe the next day sees that, you know, Red is leaving. She thinks it's because of her, but she's still hurting. She's just like, you know, how could this happen? And, you know, they going back and forth. And it really broke her heart. But all the while, Red starts sending her gifts of things that she enjoyed and things that he learned, like scrunchies and buttons and jars, little things like that he listened to, he observed, and he said he was sending to her. And then she starts questioning, like, you know, am I making a mistake not talking to him? I love him. I want to be with him. She goes to have a conversation with her grandmother. Her grandmother tells her, like, you know, basically go get your man. So Chloe, and he also wrote a letter to Chloe. Chloe decides that she's gonna read the letter that he wrote. He basically stated that, you know, I love you, I'm sorry, this is I'm gonna get you back, I'm not like other dudes, forgive me. She goes to his apartment. She knocks on the door. She tells you know, be quiet, let me talk. She tells him, like, you know, no, she hands him the notebook with the list. He finally reads the list and sees that it says keep Red on it. She explains that, you know, I revised the list to understand that I love you, I want to be with you. You didn't give me time to explain. He apologizes. They kiss, they make up, and that's the end. They live in a happy life. They start traveling to New York and on vacation, all that. And yeah, it was just a beautiful story. I would rate this book. I'm gonna rate the book I'm gonna rate the book a 3.5. The only reason why I'm gonna rate the book a 3.5 is because in the beginning, to me, it took too long to get juicy. I know you have to tell the stories to get the backstory of everything, but for me, I want to get to the point a little quicker. It's like it was a little dragged out in the beginning for me. That's why I give it a 3.5. But I did enjoy the read. I want to see read the sister stories. But I like Chloe's character. Chloe, other than the illness, Chloe kind of reminds me of myself. I'm not snotty or an asshole, but you know, when you like somebody, sometimes you play a couple games. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. But I like Chloe's character. I like Red's character. And also, one of the main messages from the book is don't judge a book by its cover, because both of them had each other characters all wrong. Like, they thought there was one thing and they turned out to be complete opposites of what they expected. And I think that don't judge a book by its cover. You know, actually get to know a person despite of the facade that they may portray, because everybody's going through something. Everybody has a story. But I did enjoy the read. Again, it's a 3.5. I will read the follow-up series just because, you know, that's how I get down. But yeah, if you read the book, let me know your comments on the book. Let me know what you think about the book. But yeah, like I said, out of all, and I'm gonna leave with this last thought about the book. Out of all the erotic books that I've read that pertain sex scenes, I'm not gonna tell you. The sex scenes in here was like, it's not PG-13. It was like, on a level from 1 to 10, the level was a 5. But it was like a level 5 with some arousal to it. Like, it would turn you on, and if you like those kind of things, you get what I'm saying? Like, if you like being teased and stuff like that, then the way the sex scenes described in the book will kind of turn you on. That's just my opinion. If you into that, get down right then and there, then it's not gonna do nothing for you. But anyways, as always, I appreciate you guys watching the video. Continue to drop books that you recommend in the comments. The next review is going to be Hood by Noor. And then in Hood by Noor review, I'll let y'all know which books I'm going to review next that's on the list. So yeah, I can't find the page. But anyways, until next time, guys, it's your girl Kay, and I'm out.